Guys, this is Hina. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I will show you a very easy recipe of salted caramel candy. You probably have the ingredients in your pantry, so it will be really easy for you to whip up in a whim. And it makes for a beautiful gift for your friends. You know, you wrap each individual one in parchment paper, put it in a wooden box, and it's just gorgeous. So let's get started. Okay, so for this recipe, you're going to need about 3/4 of a cup of loosely packed dark brown sugar. Now don't stress, if you don't have dark brown sugar, you can make this with light brown sugar as well. Half a cup of heavy cream or whipping cream. Just make sure that the fat percentage is more than 35%. 2 cups of unsalted butter. And you can use salted butter, but just make sure that you omit the salt that I will add by myself. A little bit of salt, about 1/8 of a cup of water, and good quality vanilla essence. The equipment that you're gonna need for this recipe are 2 saucepans, a candy thermometer, and you know, any square or rectangular dish. You can probably just line it up with some parchment paper. Make sure you have a little bit of overlap here because it'll just be easier for you to take out your caramel once it's set. Take the cream, empty it out, put the butter and to this I'm just going to add a little pinch of salt. And you take this over to the stove and heat it. I'm just heating this on medium heat. I only want the butter and the cream to melt and sort of form one liquid component. This, as you can tell, is almost getting there. At this point, I'm just going to turn off the heat and set this aside. So I've put this large pan on the stove and I'm going to put all of my sugar into this. To that, I'm going to add my 1/8 of a cup of water. And this is where you need patience, and this is where you absolutely cannot walk away from the stove right now because the sugar is going to melt and you're going to reach your caramel stage really fast. And let me tell you, sugar burns very easily, so make sure that you're constantly monitoring your pot. I'm just going to fit a candy thermometer over here. The temperature that I'm looking for this sugar to get to is about 250 degrees Fahrenheit. That's where you get like a nice caramel taste to your sugar. Okay, as you can tell, my sugar is starting to come up to a boil. I'm just taking some water with a pastry brush and brushing the sides of my pot to make sure that in case there are any crystals that have gotten stuck to the sides, it goes into my sugar syrup. So I'm just watching the temperature closely. It's coming up to a boil. And the reason that I'm using dark brown sugar here is because it already has such a nice caramel flavor to it. You can also use white sugar for this recipe, but I just love the flavor of dark brown sugar. Trust me, you're gonna love this. I'm getting very close. I'm at a 220 degrees already. You know, in my saucepan, I might have to tilt it a little bit just to make sure that the thermometer is immersed in the mixture. I do not want to burn this by any means. Okay guys, I'm at the softball stage of 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is where I'm going to mix in my cream and that butter mixture that we had earlier set aside. You're going to hear a lot of bubbling. That's okay, that's a good sign. That means your candy is going to be a good caramel. Now at this point, I'm just going to stir it very gently to make sure that all of my cream, butter, and sugar mixture is combined well. And now you're going to once again wait for the temperature to come up to about 250 to 260 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we've reached our desired temperature. You can see that there's very vigorous bubbling that's happening in the pot, and that's a good sign. At this point, I'm just gonna turn off the heat, get my pre-prepared pan for caramel making, set that here, and this is when you stir in your vanilla. Just take about a capful and put it in your caramel. I just take my candy thermometer and just kind of mix it all in. At this point, I'm gonna pour my caramel into the pan. Make sure you get every last bit of it. Set that aside. Okay, so we've poured our caramel into our preset dish. Now I'm just gonna let this be. Don't mess with it, just let it be outside on a tabletop, and it's gonna take about an hour or two to set before we can take it out and cut it and wrap it into beautiful parchment paper. Half an hour, and I've let my candy just set and do its thing. At this point, I'm gonna come in, take some sea salt, and just gently sprinkle it all over my caramel. This gives it that gourmet finish when you cut your candy up, and it just looks beautiful. And I just love the sweet and salty combination in your mouth. It just does something so special on your tongue. You have to experience it for yourself. Guys, it's been about 2 hours and it's time to see how our caramel's doing. So I just lifted it out of the pan, and what you do is you just take a really sharp knife and cut it into long strips like that. It's a little bit sticky. Right, and then you can cut it in whatever shape you want. I just like little squares. And I'll show you how to wrap one of these in parchment paper. So I've just cut little pieces of parchment paper, and what I do is I take one piece of my caramel, put it in, and just wrap it like a toffee. And here you go. These are little individual pieces of caramel which you can give as a present. Let's try and taste one. It's so chewy, it's just delicious. That is just so chewy, so caramelly. And with sea salt in there, it just leaves this amazing taste in your mouth, and you just want more and more and more. You cannot stop at one. So try this recipe out, guys, and let me know how you like it. I hope you enjoy my video, and please hit like at the bottom of this screen if you enjoyed the video, and please leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll see you next time. Bye!